Welcome to the Village of Bartlett Board meeting for September 17th, 2019. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Kammerer?
Present.
Carbonaro?
Here.
Daney?
Here.
Gabrenia? Absent. Hopkins?
Here.
Ranky?
Present.
President Wallace.
Here. We have requested that Pastor Rob Rattacco of Jesus Journey Church do our invocation this evening. Pastor Rattacco.
Thank you. Let's pray. Precious Lord Jesus, we thank you for your amazing love for all of humanity and all the way down to our village of Bartlett. We thank you for your protection that you work through the police departments, fire departments, and all that serve this great community. And we thank you that you have established government. So we speak your blessings on that government here this evening. We ask that you work through them and accomplish all of your goals, that things run smoothly and be to your will. We thank you for your presence here this evening and pray all this in your precious name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Rattacco.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, would you fix your chair?
Brings us to our consent agenda this evening. All items listed with an asterisk will be considered enacted in one motion. There's no separate discussion on any items on the consent agenda. At this point, is there anything a board member would like to add or remove from the consent agenda?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to add F1 and F2 to the consent agenda.
Does anybody have any discussion around those two items? Hearing none. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion to amend the consent agenda to include the following: the bills list from September 17, 2019. The consent will also include, under Community and Economic Development, the Streets of Beta application. The consent this evening under Finance and Golf will include a resolution approving advisory services agreement with Robert W. Baird to perform financial advisory work for the Village of Bartlett. The consent this evening will also include Microsoft Office 2019 purchase. The consent this evening under License and Ordinance will include an ordinance creating Class A liquor license. Under License and Ordinance creating Class B liquor license. The consent this evening will be adding a resolution approving the engineering services agreement between the Village of Bartlett and Strand Associates, Inc., and the purchase of a 2019 multi-purpose mowing/snow machine.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Kammerer?
That motion carries. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Kammerer, seconded by Trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Kammerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Yes.
That motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the board and committee minutes from September 3, 2019.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Kammerer?
Yes.
Carbonaro?
Abstain.
Daney?
Yes.
That motion carries. Next item we have this evening is our treasurer's report. Mr. Treasurer?
Thank you. Included in your packets is the treasurer's report for the month of July. Also included is the sales tax report. For the month of May, we received $205,572. That was up $5,500 from the same month prior year. Also included is the MFT report. We received $76,204. That was down $3,388 compared to the prior year. That's it for the treasurer's report.
Does anybody have any questions for the treasurer?
The MFT funds, is that based on per capita?
It is. It's distributed per capita.
When is the next census?
2020.
2020? Do you think that amount will go up from where we were at?
Community development hopes that it does. It should.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to go up compared to the rest of the state, so you take everybody and you divvy it up across the state. So we could, if you hear everything about people leaving Illinois, I don't believe Bartlett's population has gone down significantly.
Thank you.
Anything else for the treasurer? Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Next item we have this evening is the President's Report. We have a few items on the President's Report. The first item is appointments to committees. And the first appointment will be a Michael Paremba for a 2-year term for the Police Pension Committee. I'm not sure if Michael is here, but I'll entertain a motion.
This is your appointment.
Okay, with the advice and consent of the village board, I reappoint the following individual to the term indicated beginning September 17th, 2019. Anybody have any questions or comments about that? All right, so Michael, thank you for your service.
Still need a motion to consent
Yeah, motion to
to
consent.
the. So moved.
Second, trustee Daney, seconded by trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Ranky?
Yes.
Camera?
Yes.
Carbonell?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, Michael. Again, a Bike and Run Plan Advisory Committee, a 3-year term. I believe Barry Krall is here this evening. With the advice and consent of the village board, I will be appointing the following individuals. Entertain a motion to consent.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Daney, seconded by trustee Kammer. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Camera?
Yes.
Carbonell?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes. I appoint Barry Krall to a 3-year term for the Bike and Run Committee. Finally, the Zoning Board of Appeals, with a 5-year term, is Charlie Devereaux. With the advice and consent of the village board, I'll entertain a motion to consent.
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Kammer, seconded by trustee Daney. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Carbonell?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Camera?
Yes.
That motion carries. I appoint Charlie Devereaux to a 5-year term of the Zoning Board of Appeals. And if you're all here tonight, thank you so much for your volunteerism. I really appreciate it. Submissions are very important.
Can we get you to stand if you're here?
All right, now we know that face to the name. Yep. I'm not sure how we're going to manage that without her here, but we'll figure that out. Next item we have in the President's Report this evening, which will require my glasses. Actually, Lorna, you printed this one pretty big. The Village of Bartlett is pleased to recognize the winners of the 2019 Pride and Ownership Awards. The Pride and Ownership program was started in Bartlett in 1996 to recognize owners who do an outstanding job in maintaining their property. The village calls out for nominees at the beginning of the summer, and volunteer judges visit all of the nominated properties, evaluating them on general appearance, on landscaping, on curb appeal, and on creativity. This year we had 3 single-family winners and 1 commercial property winner. And when I call your name and your address, we do have a little something for you, so if you can step up, and we'll go through it that way. So the single-family winners, starting with 3rd place, is Mr. and Mrs. Timothy Hund at 612 Winchester Court. Are they here? All right, do you want to? Okay, we set that one aside. 2nd place is Mr. and Mrs. M. Ficarella at 169 Primrose Lane. Not here. 1st place is Mr. and Mrs. Mann at 1333 Turfway Lane. All right. The commercial property winner, first place is Artist Senior Living of Bartlett. I think they've won once or twice in the past few years. That's great. So give them a round of applause, Artist Senior Living. The village congratulates all of the nominated and winning property owners and sincerely thanks them for helping to keep Bartlett beautiful. The winners received a yard sign and Ace Hardware gift card and will be listed in the Bartlett newsletter. So congratulations. Next on the President's report, we have the Tri-Village Garden Club of Bartlett, Streamwood, and Hanover Park. They recently conducted a benefit garden walk to raise money for We Grow Dreams. We Grow Dreams is a job training program providing opportunities for individuals with disabilities to learn a variety of tasks in the day-to-day operation of a wholesale and retail greenhouse business. The Tri-Village Garden Club sought out 6 homeowners in Bartlett to be a part of this event. To honor the Bartlett homeowners for allowing the club to use their garden for the walk, the Tri-Village Garden Club would like to present a plaque to each homeowner for their generosity. The Tri-Village Garden Club will also be recognizing artists that have been a part of the Arts in Bartlett Porch Proud project. Eileen Lucetta of the Tri-Village Garden Club will present the 6 homeowners with their plaques this evening. So Eileen.
Good evening. President Wallace just explained everything I was going to explain and did it beautifully. Thank you. I want to call up each of the gardeners. They worked really hard to make their gardens in perfect shape, and they were indeed. First of all is Maureen Hernandez. Please step forward. Maureen says, I plant with a love for nature and to please the eye and heart. We not only have beautiful gardens that our gardeners create, but also environmentally responsible and with an eye to preserving nature and getting rid of those nasty grassy lawns that we call food deserts. Thank you, Maureen. Sue Stocks. Sue Stocks has, in fact, practically totally eliminated her lawn and has plantings everywhere. She says, my garden is truly my sanctuary. She even has found a place for an herb bed and vegetable plants among all the lovely flowers. Brenda and Tim Healy. Brenda and Tim Healy were the winners of Pride in Ownership last year. In fact, their garden has 2 ponds and a waterfall. They turned a slope into a waterfall, have 2 lovely ponds with koi fish and a series of terrace beds. Truly, truly beautiful place. Patty Rolfies. Patty says, my garden is a delightful mix of fragrance, the sounds of nature, and colors only Mother Nature can create. Patty is also going to receive the award for Patty Bratz, so don't go away. Patty, 2 Patties, would you believe? They are friends and live across the street from each other, have fabulous gardens, both of them. Patty Bratz says, my garden is a certified wildlife habitat. She even raises a few monarch butterflies each summer. Thank you. Finally, we have Linda and Wally Grobel, who are respectively president and vice president of the Garden Club. Their garden is also a certified wildlife habitat. In it, there are various water features as well as bird and bee houses. We love bees. We're not afraid of them. They pollinate plants.
Go bees.
And last, but certainly not least, I would like to ask all participating artists to present to stand. These are the artists who did beautiful art pieces of porches, gardens, and landscape places in Bartlett. The creator of the idea, Jenny Vogt, please stand. Kate Bartlett. Cindy Meyer. Carolyn Winters. Marianne Anderson. Linda Kay. Joanne Barsanti. Kathy Manning. These last names I didn't have on my list. There are 2 other artists. Please stand if you're here. Yes, thank you to all of them. Their work. Their work is presently on display in this building on the 2nd floor. There's a little art gallery up there. If you've never seen it, go up and take a look. And we'll be there for the rest of this month, next month, and up until November 1st. It's open anytime the Village Hall building is open. I encourage you to see the beautiful work.
And I believe most of those paintings are for sale, right? Yes. Okay, so yeah, go take a look. Thank you, ladies. Well done. I've already looked at them. Very nicely done. Thank you for being here. Does anyone have any questions for staff at this time?
Unfortunately, I'm going to bring up the same thing that we were hearing about for weeks. I just want an update. I'm getting complaints again, still, not again, but still, about 59 and Stearns.
Well, they actually have some activity going on out there now. The utility, I believe the utility is being moved, and I'm hoping that they will continue to start with road construction and get it done, as I said, by this November.
Supposed to be done by November, correct?
I think if we're lucky, we'll get the road improvements done by November. I'm sure they'll have restoration and all that stuff for spring. But if we can get the road work done, that would be fabulous.
Thanks.
Anything else?
I have a question about Groot. I heard a rumor that we put all our recycling in the recycling, but they don't actually recycle it. I don't know if this is true, but I would like maybe if you guys could do some research and find out if they actually recycle the recyclables. That would be great.
I would say that what might be fueling that rumor is that the market for recyclables is down, but the infrastructure for them to deal with those recyclables is still in place. And I would be very surprised if they were landfilling our recyclables, because they have to pay for those tipping fees. So it wouldn't make any financial sense for them to do that, but we will certainly look into it.
Thank you. And also brush pickup. Have complaints gone down,
Dan, Rush?
or have the phone calls gone down?
I would say that the calls have gone down, and people are getting used to bundling. We still get complaints. We still get people putting out random piles, and we send them a letter, and it's been pretty successful that once we send a letter saying you need to remove this, have it bundled, or have a contractor pick it up, we've been pretty successful in getting those piles picked up. But I would say overall, the complaints are going down. People are getting used to the bundling portion.
How long what's the duration of our contract with, the length of time with Groot?
This is 3 more years. This is our year 2 of a 5-year contract.
Thought it was.
We
I have
did do
something
some.
to add to that. 3 weeks ago, on Saturday, I cut 3.5-inch diameter limb, 40 inches long. I measured so I wouldn't have to cut it again. It was a branch, and I brought that out to the parkway. And Tuesday, when I came home, it was still there. It had a little purple sign on it that said, "Please bundle." If you didn't catch it, it was a branch. It was nothing to bundle it to. It was only one. So I figured, okay, I have a sense of humor. I tied a piece of string around it, and I left it out there. That was last week, and they didn't pick it up. So maybe I misunderstood what they were saying. So I cut another 2-foot, 1-inch branch, and this time I tied it together so it was bundled, and that's still there now. So I'm going on 4 weeks on one branch, 2 weeks on 2 branches. So I'm going to leave it there. If it's not picked up next week, then I'll decide whether I want to cancel them or not. It's a branch.
Yeah, we could contact Groot and make sure that that gets picked up.
And is there any more thought, Dan, on, we talked a little bit about trying to come up with some sort of plan, because I've had complaints as well. I've had emails about this as far as somehow coming up with a time where maybe the village could do a pickup once every so often. Have we thought more about that, or?
The biggest concern I have is if you say once a year, twice a year, it's going to be a pile that we won't be able to manage, or it'll take us that long to get it. I would recommend if we want to get out of the group picking up brush business, we can go out to bid and get contractors that do it, that it wouldn't be bundled. They would come out with the grappling machine, pick up the pile, throw it in the back of a truck. We've talked to contractors that do that. We've got rough numbers of what that would be. And then you can relay that price over to the residents, and then everybody would have that brush picked up that way. But we're in the middle of a contract with Groot, so we'd have to talk to them to see whether they would discount that price and roll it into the other number.
Is it even possible for us to consider doing an extra fee to residents? That I've talked to several people, they said, well, they wouldn't object that even if the village charged them, say, an extra $50 to come out and pick up brush, then they would have that option of calling and say, put me on the list, I'd like a brush pickup, I'm willing to be charged that extra $50, and then we'd have the village do it. I mean, is that a possibility?
The hard part with that is that you're taking in all these calls of, people are going to put it out, not call, so then we're picking up, we're going back, and it just gets inefficient trying to figure out everybody that's on or off the list. So my concern would be that we'd be spending more time messing around with who's got brush, who doesn't have brush. That's why I recommend if we're going to get out of group doing it, you hire a contractor that's going to do the whole town. They know they have to do it, whatever the frequency is that we decide, once a month, twice a month, whatever, and they do the whole town, and they pick it up and get it out of town.
I wouldn't mind looking at those options.
Yeah, I think we've had enough complaints about the situation, and I truly believe that a lot of them are growing pains from the change, but that doesn't mean that residents are wrong. Case in point, Trustee Carbonaro, obviously they're making some errors on what they're doing. So I think we get the numbers, we go back to Groot and we say, hey, this isn't working very well. And let's get the numbers and let's bring them to the board and see if we want to make that change and see if Groot will discount off of that service. Does that sound good?
Yes. I think it also has something to do with where people live. You know, where I live, we have much more wooded areas. And so other people that don't have the woods, they're good with it. But that's the reason I'm saying, if they had the option of just saying, hey, I want to pay extra money, I get it, that I just want to pay extra money and just have my brush picked up. I don't know that we need to change the whole service because most people may be good with it, but then you get a few that just want to have the brush picked up in the wooded areas. They pay an extra fee and then it's done. So I don't know. I don't know what becomes more expensive.
Well, let's take a look at these numbers.
Yeah.
See what they can.
I understand what you're saying.
Right.
But I think that we definitely have to fix this problem for sure.
I agree, one way or another.
Yeah. Is that clear as mud?
Could get some numbers.
All right. Anything else? Hearing none, we'll move on to the town hall portion of the meeting. This part of the meeting, if anyone would like to address the board, please step up to the podium there and state your name and address for the record, so Lorna can jot that down and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Would anyone like to address the board at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to standing committee reports. First standing committee report is Building and Zoning Committee, Chairman Hopkins.
Thank you, President Wallace. There is nothing on the agenda tonight.
Thank you, Chairman Hopkins. Next standing committee report is, and we're going to have to do this on the fly because we were not aware of Chairman Gabrenia being absent. So with that being said, she's got only one item on her agenda that is not on the consent. Trustee Camera, can you make that motion?
I can. So I'd like to make the motion that we appoint Kirsten Erickson to the Economic Development Commission.
Second.
No, it's moved. You just need a
Moved
second
by
on the
Trustee
vote.
Camera, seconded by Trustee Ranky. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Camera?
Yes?
Carbonaro?
Yes.
That motion carries. Kirsten's here this evening. Thank you so much for volunteering. And for those of you that are smarter than I am, which is most of you, the reason why that's on the actual agenda is because there's something to do with the EDC's sub-rules that say that we have to bring it before the board for the Economic Development Commission. So that's why it's not just an appointment by the standing village president. But thank you for your service. Appreciate it. And thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Kirsten has been involved in the chamber for dozens of years. So not as long as me, I don't think. But next item we have this evening is Finance and Golf Committee Chairman Daney.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have 3 items actually on the agenda. 2 were covered under consent. The one remaining is a resolution approving amendments to the fiscal year 2018-19 budget. And with that, I'll ask, are there any questions first off, before I ask? Todd may not have to go into a explanation of this.
Make a motion to approve it and then have
Make a motion.
discussion.
I move to approve resolution number 2019
73?
73, a resolution approving amendments to the fiscal year budget 2018-19.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Is there any discussion?
Could you give us some brief background
Yeah, I can give
on
you.
this?
Thank you, trustee.
You look eager just to talk.
Yeah,
so.
I don't get very many chances.
I prepared them.
Well, you'll see more of me later, but this is part of our year-end housekeeping process. Anytime a fund has been over budget, then we need to approve the amended budget. Usually it's done because of carryover from the prior year, and that's the case here. This is a capital budget. We don't always, those go up and down from year to year. This is in the Bluff City TIF project fund. The July 2018 developer deposit payout of $6.2 million is a result, this is reason for it going over budget. This payout covered a span of 6 years. That's why it was more than, we usually budget about $2 million a year. $6 million payout was from January of 2011 through December of 2016. And that was all funded by increasing their developer note. So that's the reason for being over budget. Most of it was for filling in the site preparation, filling in the dirt out there at the Southwind Business Park and the Blue Heron Business Park. So that's the reason that we need to do this amendment tonight.
Thank you.
Any questions at all? All right. If there's nothing else, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Ranky?
Yes.
Camera?
Yes?
Carbonaro?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
That motion carries.
So we have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Chairman Daney. Next item is License and Ordinance Committee, Chairman Ranky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Both items are covered on consent.
Thank you, Chairman Ranky. Police and Health Committee, Chairman Carbonaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. No items on the agenda tonight.
Thank you, Chairman Carbonaro. Public Works Committee, Chairman Kammerer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Both of our items were covered under the consent agenda.
Thank you, Chairman Carbonaro.
Cartman.
Or Kammerer, I'm sorry. Sorry, Mike. I'm reading while I'm trying to talk. Can't walk and chew gum at the same time.
Business.
Any new business? There are a couple of items that we put under new business. These licenses were created under license and ordinance this evening. One Taco Dos Tequilas Inc. Class A liquor license request has been created, and we have reviewed these license applications, and if there are no objections, I do intend to issue these licenses. Are there any objections with
Not at all.
item A? The second item is Delicious Crepes and Roti, Class B liquor license request. We did create that also under License and Ordinance Committee. We have reviewed this application as well, and if there are no objections, I intend to issue this license. Are there any objections?
Are any
All right,
of the business owners here?
I don't believe there are any of the business owners here. Nope. So those will both be issued. Is there any new business anyone else would like to discuss? Other than the update we're going to get on the trees and stuff. Nope. Any questions? All right, we'll be moving directly into the committee of the whole meeting. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Cameron, seconded by trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Ranky?
Yes.
Camera?
Yes.
Carbonell?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
We are adjourned.